Well, good morning to you. I'm meteorologist Caroline Carithers with the News 5 First Alert Storm Team here with your Tuesday morning tropical update. We have Idalia that is strengthening in the Gulf of Mexico. We're continuing to track very impressive Hurricane Franklin in the Atlantic. Also, we have newly formed Tropical Depression 11 in the Atlantic. It's no threat to land. Spoiler alert there. We'll get into all of that. Let's start with Idalia, though, because that's what's in the Gulf of Mexico. As of the 10 a.m. update from the National Hurricane Center, max winds at 85 miles per hour. So the stage is set for rapid strengthening here. It's developed its inner core, and it's also over very warm water. Doesn't really have too much wind shear to contend with, so this is just going to continue to strengthen throughout the day today and overnight tonight. So the National Hurricane Center placement of the track is relatively in the same spot as it was in the previous advisory. They did up the landfalling wind speed to 125 miles per hour. That is a strong Category 3 major hurricane, still focused on the Big Bend of Florida, expected to be Category 2 later on today. So we're going to continue to see this strengthen right up until landfall. Then it will weaken pretty quickly as it moves on land. But we are far enough away from Idalia to feel any of the direct impacts. Those will be focused in the Big Bend of Florida and then down the west coast of Florida where there's tropical alerts. So we are looking at a hurricane warning in place all the way from Apalachicola down the Big Bend and down the west coast, the Gulf side of the peninsula of Florida. Most of Florida is under some sort of tropical alert. Storm surge warning is also in effect. Now, as far as what we can anticipate from Idalia, of course, we're not going to see any direct impacts. It's too far east. What we are going to see are indirect impacts, mainly at the coastline. Look at these wave heights. This is kind of a cool model that we like to show you. By the time we get to tonight, we'll see waves starting to build off of our coastline. Anytime there's low pressure in the Gulf, really stirs things up for us. Moving into the overnight hours into early tomorrow morning, that's when we'll see the peak wave activity for us. There is a high surf warning in place tonight through tomorrow night for waves between 7 and 10 feet up to 11, 12 feet offshore. Of course, those increase astronomically as you move towards the Big Bend of Florida, but for our stretch of the Gulf Coast, high surf warning, waves 7 to 10 feet. Elsewhere, what else can we anticipate with Idalia? High risk of rip currents starting today. Red flags are flying. They'll likely be flying through Friday as well. It always takes the Gulf some time to calm down after a tropical system moves through. So overall, what can we expect? High surf, of course, those really high waves, as well as a high risk of rip currents. Also, higher tide cycles. We're not talking about storm surge, but some coastal flooding is possible thanks to Idalia and actually a super blue moon. Elsewhere in the tropics, we have Hurricane Franklin still spinning away a very impressive storm here, almost a perfect hurricane structure. Category 4 storm, max winds at 130 miles per hour. This is going to skirt around Bermuda, which is really good news for Bermuda. But it is kicking up wave activity, of course, on Bermuda as well as along the east coast of the United States. This is not a threat to the United States, which is really good news. We also now have Tropical Depression 11, which is east of Franklin. This is in the central Atlantic. It could become a brief tropical storm. The next name on the list is Jose before fizzling out by the end of the week. All in all, this is a pretty short-lived system here and kind of formed just as of the 10 a.m. update. So you see this area here that has a medium chance for development. That's now Tropical Depression 11. Another area we're tracking off the coast of Africa still has that medium chance for development. So as far as what you need to do, is always great to have your hurricane kit and plan ready to go. As far as what you can do in the meantime to stay updated, we have the Tracking the Tropics Hurricane Map Room that is open 24/7 on WKRG.com with all of the latest information for you.